Hi, I'm Doc and I make mouse calls. Howdy, and welcome to Mouse Calls. I'm Doc, and if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. Just as house calls are a doctor's visits to one's house, mouse calls are my visits to the mouse. They are Disney trips, they are real vacations that I take every once in a while for the sake of my own mental well-being, to just get away from it all, relax, make some memories, some magic. And these videos are basically meant to capture that and share it with you all at home. Now, one of my favorite things about Walt Disney World is that you can have so many different kinds of experiences, so many different kinds of vacations here. And this particular mouse call, we are revisiting not only one of my favorite spots at Walt Disney World Resort, but also one of the more unique ways to stay here. Specifically, Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground. Now, if you saw my last Fort Wilderness videos, you know that we stayed in the cabins before they were refurbished. But this time, we are going to be happy campers. We're not tent camping, but we do have this lovely setup with a camper, and I'll be in the back of the truck. I'll show you a little bit more of that later. Not only are we excited to revisit some favorites around Fort Wilderness and this area, but also we do have some new experiences in store. So I'm super excited, happy to have you all along with us. Without further ado, let's check out the campsite. Mom has approached. I am here on this mouse call with my parents. That's a nice bag. I saw a lady at the airport with a bag just like that today. Let's go find Dad. I see the loon buggy. Hi, Dad. Thank you for inflating the loon. We originally had hoped to take advantage of Disney's free admission to water parks on the first day of your Disney resort hotel stay, but we're here in late January and it's actually quite chilly, so no water park for us today. But the friendly cast members over at the reception outpost were able to modify our reservation, so we have the loon buggy for all day today. Now, as you may know, one of the traditions at Fort Wilderness is to decorate one's golf cart. And this makes ours very easy to tell apart from the others. So perhaps the most ostentatious feature of our campsite is in fact the loon buggy. Here at Fort Wilderness, you do of course have the cabins, the most comfortable and luxurious of the accommodation options, unless you have a very luxurious RV. And then the camping options are these sites where you can hook up to electricity and plumbing, or they do also have tent camping sites. Now, we have been tent camping at Fort Wilderness, but if it's been a minute since you've been tent camping, remember that it rains in Florida. Don't do what we did and forget the rain fly on the tent before you go spend all day in the parks. This promises to be a much more successful stay this time around. We are in a full hookup site, so we don't have an RV, but we do have this cute little camper. And not everything is quite set up yet, but we'll have a nice little area to relax here later. And then over here in the back of the truck is my crib. I think it's pretty cozy. We actually bought this blanket at Fort Wilderness. And towards the back of our campsite, we actually have, you know, not too much intrusion. This campground is pretty dense, but I think they do a good job of distributing the sites such that you do get a little kind of touch of nature at each one. Now, when you're camping at Fort Wilderness, of course, if you have, you know, a camping situation with your own bathroom, that's great. But every loop in the campground does have access to what they call a comfort station. This is basically where you'll find public restrooms for men and women. They do have shower facilities in addition to the, you know, toilets and sinks, mirrors. And then also in the comfort station, you have your laundry facilities. So you can wash and dry clothes, and I believe they take cards if you don't have detergent. There is a little vending machine where you can purchase detergent. And there is some handy information on the outside of every comfort station, including the rules surrounding campfires. So they have very specific fire pit rules at Fort Wilderness. You want to make sure that you have a compliant fire pit. Now that we are largely settled into our site, it's time to board the loon buggy and explore a little bit more of the fort. Specifically, we're headed up to the settlement. And as you can sort of tell, the big reason that renting a golf cart is so popular here at Fort Wilderness is because the resort and campground is so sprawling. You really, technically you can get around on foot, but you'll have to budget some time for that, and it's much easier to drive, but it's not really meant for a lot of car traffic. So you'll mainly see golf carts and the Disney buses, which do circulate here both internally and they connect to take you onto the parks. We've encountered another avian golf cart. Here at the settlement, you'll find a number of things, including Trail's End, the quick service restaurant, Crockett's Tavern, the tavern. You'll also find the boat landing, a trading post, and of course the Pioneer Hall and the Hoop-Dee-Doo musical review. I don't know if you can really hear it, but the Fort Wilderness soundtrack slaps. We're headed over to the trading post first because I forgot to bring a magic band on this trip, but I did see one online that I have my eye on.
You mailed them up in the meadows?
The settlement trading post is very similar to the one at the meadow. They both have an assortment of generic Disney merchandise, Fort Wilderness merchandise, and convenience items such as assorted groceries and things that you may have forgotten or need. Well, they didn't have the magic band that I wanted. Nor, indeed, were they selling AA batteries, which was the other thing we came in there for. But a very kind cast member did get us the batteries that we needed on the mouse. So that was a little bit of magic. And I think now it's time to head across the way and perhaps have an inaugural snack and beverage for this stay. Trails End and Crockett's Tavern are basically continuous. It's all one big space in here. Continuous, I'm not sure which one I really mean, but anyway, it's all one space. Thank you. Alright, we settled into our favorite corner at Crockett's Tavern, and we have our Crockett's Tavern cocktails. Mom and Dad got the excellent Quail Trail Paloma. Honestly, the best Paloma that we've had, like, anywhere. It's a great Paloma. They use spicy bitters in this one, so it's got a little bit of heat. Very tasty. And I went with the seasonal old fashioned. This has Woodford Reserve and rosemary syrup and cranberry juice. So kind of like a winter meal, winter feast kind of old fashioned. All right.
Shall we?
Cheers. Cheers.
So good.
This is very tasty.
It's delicious.
It's not overly sweet. I asked her to go light on the syrup. And perhaps because of that, I'm not sure I'm getting a whole lot of rosemary. But it's very tasty. The Woodford Reserve definitely is the star, as it should be in an old-fashioned. I think I wish this had like a little rosemary sprig as a garnish. I think that would help it come through more in the flavor profile, but I can't complain. And just like that, our food has arrived.
Yay!
So we can't come to Fort Wilderness without getting these excellent chicken bites. These are garlic parmesan chicken bites with both ranch and blue cheese and seasoned fries, and they are amazing. And then we also got the trio of sliders, which is new for us. This trio comes with a pulled pork barbecue sandwich, I think a brisket with Carolina barbecue sauce and pickled onions, and then a buffalo chicken slider with house-made blue cheese. So all of those sound good. We know we like the barbecue pulled pork sandwich over at Trails End behind us, so hopefully this slider is reminiscent of that. But the other two sound like good things to try also, so we will dig in. Okay.
Oh, I can't believe we're playing the old
I'm gonna
crab.
napkin first. I'm actually gonna start out with this brisket, which looks very substantial.
Really good with the ranch. Oh my gosh. What is this, Old Bay seasoning? That's spicy. Cajun?
This is delicious. Tangy, hearty, savory, a little bit sweet. This is everything you expect from this sandwich, executed very well. Brisket slider gets a thumbs up. All right, seasoned fry interlude.
You gotta dip them in the ranch. So spicy. Good.
The fries and the ranch. Match made in heaven. Okay. This buffalo chicken slider appears to have cucumbers on it, which I'm going to tolerate, I guess, for the sake of science here, but I'm not the biggest cucumber fan. This is another fine sandwich. What it is not is buffalo. It's delicious. It tastes more like a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich, though, than a buffalo chicken sandwich. I'm not complaining. It is delicious. I think it might be house-made pickles.
Oh. Okay.
The cucumbers seem more like house-made pickles, so they just like look like cucumbers, but they tasted like pickles. And now the pulled pork barbecue slider. Just a classic pulled pork barbecue sandwich with coleslaw on it. No notes on this one. I would be perfectly happy eating any of these sliders. Honestly, I think the slider trio here is a win. Don't sleep on Crockett's Tavern for food. If you want to get some really tasty, hearty fare, it can be had at Crockett's Tavern. It's not just Trail's End. Plus you get the delicious drinks here too. Well, that was a delightful meal, snack, something in between, and beverage at Crockett's Tavern. And honestly, I think this is kind of like an underrated place to come. It's very cozy, relaxed. And now, here's the thing. Like, Fort Wilderness is an excellent resort for those of you who are inclined to spend time in the outdoors. It probably offers the best outdoor activity of any Walt Disney World resort. But it has not gotten out of the 50s all day, and it is windy here. And I just really want, I want to be cozy. I want the coziness to continue. And there is one place on Walt Disney World property that probably does that even better than Fort Wilderness and has a bus directly from here to there. So we are headed there now. Of course, I mean Disney's Wilderness Lodge Resort. This is a deluxe resort that is a convenient and short bus ride directly from Fort Wilderness. It's quite unusual to have two resort hotels directly connected by bus, but that's what you get when you stay at the fort. Very easy access to Wilderness Lodge and the amenities thereof. And the Wilderness Lodge lobby is like peak coziness at Disney World. And also there's a little out-of-the-way fireplace where we like to set up and play cards when we get the chance. So we're gonna spend some time here, indoors, away from the wind, just kind of luxuriating and enjoying the vibes. Because you know what? That's something you can do when you're staying at Fort Wilderness. We finished our game of cards. It actually did not go well for me. But, this is a lovely way to get out of the cold, have a nice relaxing time by the fire, enjoy the log cabin vibes of Disney's Wilderness Lodge. Now, I think it's time to head back and kind of wind down for the night, but we do have a lot of fun planned for tomorrow, including trail riding on horseback, which I have never done before, so I am very excited about that. So with that, we will make our way back to the fort, and I will see you in the morning. Good morning. It is day 2 of our Fort Wilderness camping adventure. My air mattress completely deflated last night. I may have searched for availability at other Walt Disney World resorts.
Oh no.
But once it fully deflated, it was fine. And the temperature was okay. In fact, the weather today is much more clement than yesterday, albeit still a bit on the brisk side. And right now we are loon buggying it up to the meadow, which is kind of the hub for recreational activities here at Fort Wilderness. It really is a beautiful day today. It's much better for some outdoor activities. We're approaching the bike barn, which is of course where you can rent bicycles, but they also have the info for the other available like crafts and recreation activities like canoe and kayak rental, which we did last time. Highly recommend that one. Success. So I should say it is highly recommended to call ahead and reserve this activity, but we just walked up to the bike barn and asked about availability for the archery experience here at Fort Wilderness, and they did have availability, so we're gonna try our hand at some archery. After we signed our waivers, they gave us these really cool glasses and instructed us to come over here behind the bike barn where we have the targets set up. They do this twice a day on most days. I believe it said 11:30 in the morning and 2:45 in the afternoon. Well, we just finished our archery lesson.
Yay!
6 weeks of after-school classes condensed into 75 minutes. But we actually did, get better.
Yeah.
I was at least getting consistently at least one bullseye per 3 arrows towards the end. Honestly, that was better than I thought it would be.
I agree.
Yeah.
I did, kind of balk a little bit at the price initially, but I think that's worth doing at least once, especially if, maybe you've done some of the other activities around the fort, but it's definitely one of the more unique things you can do here. And we have just a little bit of time, just enough time for lunch between now and our trail riding experience. So we're gonna head over here to the Meadow swimming pool, where they have a snack bar. We're gonna see what they have for eats. Well, the Meadow snack bar was unprepared for multiple people wanting turkey sandwiches. So it was gonna be too long to wait. We don't actually have time to eat there. So we will have to defer lunch. At this point, it's going to be probably an early dinner by the time we eat. But yeah, so we basically just sat by the pool for a few minutes, and I figured out how to get this puppy set up because I do obviously want to show you guys our trail ride, and you can't bring cameras on the trail ride unless they are mounted to your body. So gonna test this out. Hopefully it works. And we're headed back to the loon buggy now to make our way back down to the entrance to the resort, Even though the Tri-Circle D Ranch is up at the settlement, the trail rides leave from basically the resort entrance. All right, we are here. We got a nice little preview on the way here as we saw the, I guess the trail riding group immediately before us cross the street, so that was fun. And now, because I have to switch SD cards, I did not bring a second one. I'm not going to bring this rig that I'm currently holding in with me. I'll probably switch to my phone and this and do some voiceover about our trail riding experience. When we got to this part of the Tri-Circle D Ranch, we saw this sign directing us to a different building a short walk away where there was a cast member waiting for us at the check-in window. We were given a table number and a card with the number of people in our group, and we were instructed to wait at these picnic tables right outside the corral. Soon we were supplied with helmets, and after just a little bit more waiting, we were called over to be assigned to our horses. Now, as part of the check-in process, they had actually weighed us, and although they do weigh you, they don't say the number out loud, no one mentions the number, but it's just a way of making sure that you're matched up with a horse that's well suited to carrying someone of your weight. Mom got to ride the very beautiful Felix. Dad was on Denver. And I was on Tex. We ended up waiting for a few more minutes in the corral area while the rest of the folks in our group got placed on their horses and into position. The cast members instructed us in the basics of maneuvering and redirecting our horses, and then we listened to a brief pre-recorded safety announcement before we headed out onto the trail. Now, the trail itself was still on Fort Wilderness property, but it was a part of the resort that is not accessible usually to guests. It was largely through this forested area, and it was very sort of secluded and separate from the rest of the resort and campground. Other than that street crossing that we made at the beginning and the end of the loop, we didn't really see any other guest areas, so it felt like kind of an exclusive, tour in a way, getting to see this part of the resort that we wouldn't otherwise have the chance to see. And it was just a really nice, relaxed ride through nature. Certainly very different from most other activities you can do on Walt Disney World Resort property. And although the landscape was largely the same throughout the entirety of the tour, it was just nice to have this little respite in the forest and do something very different. Now, even though all of us had ridden on horses before, you certainly don't need any experience on horses to do this activity. Although we were responsible for driving our horses, so to speak, it was all pretty simple, and the horses are well trained and well behaved, and they know this route well and what they're supposed to do. The biggest challenge was keeping them from being distracted by tasty vegetation here and there, but it really wasn't too bad. There were multiple cast members with us on the trail at all times, and they were very supportive. As you can see, the pace was very leisurely, and the cast members not only were there to, give us pointers or guidance when needed, but also they made sure they got a chance to chat with each member of the group, answer questions about the horses, about Fort Wilderness. It was a good level of engagement that felt friendly and supportive without being overbearing. After about 30 minutes or so on the trail, we found ourselves approaching the Tri-Circle D Ranch once again. The horses got kind of excited to be back home and to have an opportunity to eat. We said farewell to our mounts, disposed of our helmets, and that was the end of our trail ride. We are now back in Crockett's Tavern after a very enjoyable trail ride around the wilderness of Fort Wilderness. And I would say that the trail ride probably was about what I expected, which is not a slight. It was very nice. It was kind of fun that we actually did have, you know, some like control over the horses. It wasn't just, you know, just sitting on top of a horse. And you know, the terrain was largely just sort of generic Florida, but saw some wildlife. It was fun.
She said they used to be able to go down by the water.
Definitely something that's unique to Fort Wilderness. And now, of course, having skipped lunch, worked up an appetite, honing our archery skills, and you know, riding around the wilderness, we have procured some food, finally. We do have the pulled pork barbecue sandwich from Trails End Restaurant. And we tried something new, which is the smoked turkey cold sandwich that we had wanted to get at the Meadow Snack Bar, but is also available in the grab and go section of Trails End.
It actually came highly recommended by the cast members.
Okay, it was highly recommended. Good. It looks delicious. I think it's smoked turkey. Yeah, there's some cranberry on there. Yeah, aioli. Love an aioli. Turkey sandwich time. Yeah, this is good. It's that really like nice hearty whole grain bread that I like. I think this is the same bread they use for their turkey sandwich over at Geyser Point. It's not quite as good as the one over there. It's not toasted, but it's like high quality deli turkey. Got some cheese, got some spinach, and yeah, the cranberry aioli is nice. It's not like too sweet. This is a nice like lighter option than the pork sandwich, obviously.
Geyser Point has bacon too.
Wow. Pork surplus here, but man, it's just everything you want in a barbecue sandwich. It's just really well executed. This and the chicken bites. We have to get them every time we're at the fort. Whacked my arm 1 or 2 times with the bowstring. We were warned. Although I was not whacked because of doing anything that she told us not to do. Right. I should be clear. It's not like that's not guaranteed to happen to you if you do the archery thing. I adjusted my form, and after that it was fine. Mom had a hankering for dessert, so she picked up this Mickey cinnamon roll from the bakery section of Trails End. It's fresh, warm, and steamy. Ooh. Well, as promising as it smelled, unfortunately it is dry as a bone, so maybe skip the Mickey cinnamon roll at Trails End. Womp womp. After our meal at Crockett's Tavern / Trails End,
Yes.
we went back to the site and played cards for a bit, and now we are headed back to the meadow because it is almost campfire time, and we really enjoyed playing campfire bingo with Chip and Dale last time we were here at the fort. It's no longer listed as bingo, it's listed as campfire games. I kind of still hope it's bingo because I would like to try my hand again, but we'll see what they have set up, and they get to play a bit with Chip and Dale. Whoa! Well, we lucked out. It is indeed Goofy Bingo. This is free. Anyone can play. Playing for bragging rights, I think.
bingo. So when you
and
get
Disney
5
characters.
in a row-
Hi, Chip.
All right. So I'm
Well, we did not win bingo, but Chip won bingo. I think last time we were here, Dale won bingo.
Yep.
So those chipmunks have a pretty good record. You know, it doesn't seem to be rigged. And now the campfire has officially started. And because we didn't do it last time, I did purchase a s'more kit. This comes with a substantial amount of chocolate, like an entire plastic wrap, you know, half pack worth of graham crackers and many marshmallows, and then they give you however many sticks you ask for. So we can go up to the campfire and roast some marshmallows, make some s'mores. This all came from the food truck that's just off to the side of the campfire stage amphitheater here. They had popcorn. They actually had a few other snacks and, you know, beverages over there too. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to roast some marshmallows, especially after that disappointing cinnamon roll. This will be like, you know, you can't mess up a s'more. Having consumed our s'mores, we're actually going to head back to our campsite. Pretty soon they're going to start the Chippendale Campfire Sing-Along, which, don't get me wrong, that is great. It's funny, and it's a lot of fun. But I think we're in for more of a quiet evening tonight, so we're gonna head back, maybe enjoy our own fire pit a little bit, eat some popcorn, and wind down for the night. Tomorrow we're gonna do a little bit of park hopping. Now this is of course an episode about Fort Wilderness, so I won't belabor our park hopping. So here is a condensed montage, I guess. Oh, that was a full day. In fact, it's already the next day. I don't know if you could tell, but the footage in that montage got more and more sparing towards the end because my phone battery was dying. I kept refreshing the My Disney Experience app for much of the afternoon trying to get us a frozen lightning lane and just had no success, which is the first time I've not been able to get every lightning lane that I wanted, but I don't know, it's a weekend. Still, we had a really great day at the parks. And now we've packed up the campsite, we've removed the loon from the loon buggy and returned the plain old golf cart to the outpost. Alas, it's our departure day from Fort Wilderness. But we have had just a lovely little trip being happy campers here at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground. You know, even though when we arrived here the weather was less than ideal for outdoor activities, we really enjoyed our easy access to the cozy and a bit more luxurious vibes at the geographically and thematically adjacent Wilderness Lodge. And then we did really have a lovely day here just exploring the fort. We've had mostly good food here, like mostly really good food. And it was also really fun to do some new to us activities that showcase what makes Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground so special amongst Walt Disney World properties. As a camping trip, I think this was also pretty good. The campground here is, of course, a little dense, but the facilities are very nice. That comfort station was being cleaned almost obsessively. And it really does accommodate a wide variety. You know, we saw some people who had rented big fancy RVs and some people who were tent camping. So you can really choose your own adventure here. Thank you guys for coming along with us. Have you ever been camping at Walt Disney World? What's your favorite thing about Fort Wilderness? Please, like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with the adventures. We've got more Walt Disney World planned for the spring, and then summer we'll see a return to high seas adventure. So looking forward to all of that. Looking forward to bringing you guys along with me. Thanks again for watching. As always, I have been Doc, but even though I do call myself Doc, nothing presented on this channel should be taken as medical advice, except for this. Wear sunscreen, drink water, don't forget to breathe. Bye-bye. The trail ride, oh boy, what's going on? What does it say? Just turn off or something?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Man, I'm so glad we have that loon.